Banjo-Kazooie is finally back home on a Nintendo console, and I couldn't be happier. Since its release on the Switch through the Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pass, I've been playing it non-stop. It's been years since I've played this classic, and even after all this time, it doesn't disappoint. It's chock full of so much charm with its whimsical dialogue, quirky characters, and unique worlds. I could easily tell you who my favorite character is in this game, but I recently got to thinking, what exactly is my favorite world? After playing through all the worlds a few days ago, I sat down and ranked these worlds based on their difficulty, their aesthetic, and just how fun they are to play. So without further ado, let's rank them up. Rusty Bucket Bay? Huh, more like Rusty Bay. For those of you who are familiar with this game, I bet this comes as no surprise. Rusty Bucket Bay is a cargo steamship that sits docked in a polluted harbor. This world has always been a chore for me to complete. It's very drab and depressing, and the music? Ugh. None of the jiggies are exactly fun to collect, and if you aren't familiar with this level, you'll probably be here for hours, where an experienced player will be stuck in this nightmare for about 30 minutes. I do agree that the world should get harder as the game progresses, but the difficulty spike from Mad Monster Mansion to this one is quite ridiculous. The oily water has to be one of the most annoying things about this world. I mean, just swimming on the surface depletes your air meter, and when you dive underwater for one of the many collectibles hidden below, your air meter will deplete at double the speed it normally does. Oh, and don't even get me started on the engine room, aka the room straight out of hell. If you don't time your jumps to a T, and quickly, you'll be falling to your doom and be forced to start this level from the beginning, losing any notes you collected prior. I guess the fact that this level has a boss fight is kind of cool, although it's kind of a joke if you use gold feathers. A tip? Start with the engine room, or better yet, just skip this level completely. Now that we've gotten the only bad level out of the way, next is good old Mumbo's Mountain. This world has all the cliches you'd expect from a 3D platformer's first world. A bright atmosphere, fun music, and collectibles right out in the open. I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, as it gives players a feel for what the game is going to be like, but after you complete this world, you'll probably forget about it pretty quick, as it doesn't do anything to make itself stand out from the rest. I do enjoy this world, but its lack of challenge makes it a breeze, and you'll probably be able to 100% this world in about 20 to 25 minutes, or in about 10 minutes for returning players. Overall, this world is a good tutorial world, but it's also very forgettable. Level 4 of the game sees Banjo and Kazooie trekking to Bubblegloop Swamp. These swamplands hold a number of small islands, a treetop village, and poor old Tank Top, who just can't keep warm, which I can totally relate to. The swamp is surrounded by some murky water which will hurt you if you enter it, thanks to the marine life living in it. The only way to traverse these waters is to put on a pair of wading boots, the bottles move you learn in this level, or by stomping through with this level's transformation, the Crocodile. Even though the Crocodile is probably the best transformation in the game, being the only transformation that can actually attack, the transformation can't really save this level from being more than just mediocre. One major thing that puts this level near the bottom of the list is the Crocodile minigame. The purpose of the game is to collect more of these little colored worm things than your opponent, Mr. Vile, the most annoying villain in this game. It wouldn't be too bad if you only had to beat this minigame one time, but no. You have to beat this stupid minigame 3 times. And if you lose, Mr. Vile will bite you and take some of your health away. Like, what kind of BS is that? Other than this minigame, the rest of the world is alright, but nothing to write home about. Clanker's Cavern is a level that's grown on me a bit over the years. As its name suggests, this level is the cavern home to the cute yet terrifying Clanker, a garbage disposal fish robot thingy-majiggy. This is the quote water level of the game, but honestly, this is one of the better water levels to be featured in a 3D platformer. It has a unique aesthetic rather than just being beach or ocean themed, and I'd say you spend roughly the same amount of time on land and water, with maybe slightly leaning more towards time in the water. Although this level is basically one big room, there's so much to do here. From freeing Clanker from his chains, to fighting mutant crabs, to playing a fun little ring game. With the exception of freeing Clanker, you never have to spend too much time underwater, which is a plus because the swimming mechanics in this game aren't great. Overall, Clanker's Cavern has a fair difficulty for being the third world of the game, and exploring Clanker is a really cool aspect. Next on our list are the desert hills known as Gobi's Valley. I always thought it was weird that the desert level came right after the ice level, but I wouldn't expect anything less from a game that's plot involves an evil witch kidnapping a bear to steal her looks. Gobi's Valley is named after poor old Gobi the camel, who I honestly feel really bad for. I don't know what the developers had against camels, as they seriously put this guy through so much abuse, forcing the player to not only pound his back once, but twice in order to obtain a collectible. I guess I kind of get the first time, since there wouldn't really be any other way to water the tree, but why couldn't they hide that honeycomb piece inside of him somewhere else in the level? Anyways, I digress. This level features many pyramids, which each offer their own minigame or challenge for the bear and bird to complete. These include a game of memory, a timed maze, and pooping eggs into moving pots. Yeah, that's right, you can poop eggs in this game for some reason. I used to really not like this level, but honestly it's really not that bad. I think the thing for me was the timed maze, where you'll straight up die if you don't complete it on time, but they're actually quite generous with the time. What I like to do is just make my way to the end and kind of work backwards from there, because doing that will reset the time so you can easily get the notes that are in the maze as well as the witch switch. To summarize, Gobi's Valley does its job at being a good middle level of the game. At number 4, we have Freezeezy Peak, the place where the iconic was born. I can't help but be filled with glee when playing this level, as the entire level is one giant Christmas reference. There's so much variety in terms of collecting jiggies in this level, from lighting up the lights on the Christmas tree, to climbing an enormous snowman, collecting presents for a bunch of bear cubs, and even competing against their deadbeat dad in a sled race. Although Freezeezy Peak doesn't really offer much more of a challenge than its preceding level, Bubblegloop Swamp, in fact, I think it might even be easier, I do still think it has a solid challenge for being about the halfway point in the game. I know a lot of people might not agree with this placing, especially since this level does have slippery ice physics, but I don't really think that affects you too much because you don't really have to do any careful platforming in this level. I guess I could be a little biased against this level because I am Canadian and snow is kind of our thing, but I kind of just love snow-themed areas. One downside about this level is probably Mumbo's transformation, which is the walrus. Aside from the first transformation of the game, I think this level's transformation is the one that you use the least, and it's kind of the most lame one. Our next level will be Treasure Trove Cove, a sandy beach inhabited by a variety of beachy baddies. The reason that the second level of the game is ranked so high is because this level really does amp up the difficulty compared to the first level, Mumbo's Mountain. A lot of the jiggies here actually require you to do something to obtain them, such as retrieving all of Captain Blubber's gold. A little side note here, Captain Blubber has to be one of my favorite characters in the game, solely because his speaking voice is just him burping over and over again, which is pretty awesome. Some other fun jiggies here involve invading Snipper's shell, which I didn't even know was a thing until I bought the promotional Banjo-Kazooie VHS at a thrift store and saw them do this. The giant sandcastle is kind of cool too, since you can input in-game cheats here, such as Big Head Banjo. The atmosphere is bright, the music is fun, and overall this level makes you feel like you're actually a pirate searching for gold. I'd be mad if I didn't place this level high up on the ranking list. Mad Monster Mansion, as its name suggests, takes place in and around the outskirts of a spooky mansion. The mansion is full of rooms to explore, such as the dining room, bedroom, cellar, and even a bathroom. The outskirts feature a well, hedge maze, and even a haunted church with a graveyard, which is pretty awesome. I like when levels add multiple rooms to explore, as it makes the levels seem larger, and it's able to give them more character. The aesthetic for this level is unlike any other in the game, which is why it's featured so high on the list. This is also one of the few levels of the game to feature a transformation, and this level is the only transformation that is non-animal themed, being a pumpkin. I find the pumpkin is one of the more useful transformations, as there's quite a few things to collect as a pumpkin, but I also could have done without the transformation, as I don't really think it adds anything to the level, but nor do I think it takes anything away. This level is also home to the ghost enemies, which are kind of annoying to defeat as the only way to defeat them is by using golden feathers, but honestly if you keep your distance you should be fine at avoiding them. I also love that the portraits in the dining room are supposed to represent Grunty's family and friends, but what the heck is up with that Mumbo picture? That is just straight up nightmare fuel. Come on, could number 1 really be anything else except Click Clock Wood? I know this is a pretty cliche number 1, but this world really does the most to be unique and stand out from the rest. Click Clock Wood is a wooded area with a giant tree right in the middle that you can ascend. Now the thing that really makes this world stand out is that there's actually 4 different versions of this one level, being spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Each version is geographically the same level, but depending on what season you enter, the level will be modified to fit that season's feel, such as the summer heat causing a drought, the autumn leaves creating shortcuts up the tree, and the winter chill upsetting the wood's lifeforms. This level is definitely the longest in the game, but it doesn't feel like a chore to complete. The changing seasons really bring this level to life and makes you want to keep going to see what the next season will bring. I like how some of the Jiggies are exclusive to one season, while others you can collect in any season you want. My only complaint, if you would call it that, is collecting the notes can be a little confusing. Instead of hiding 25 notes in each season, the notes are randomly distributed throughout them, meaning that you'll never know how many notes are in each season unless you're an experienced player. This could be a huge detriment to some players, but I personally don't see it that way. It just means you might have to spend a little bit more time exploring each season, which for me is honestly a lot of fun in this level. And the music in this level, so catchy. It's just so fun and makes you want to hum along. Well, maybe except for the winter rendition. The bee transformation is just flying with unlimited red feathers, but it honestly is so much appreciated in this world as it makes getting around much easier. Being the last level of the game, this level definitely does have some form of challenge to it, but nothing that seems like it's unfair like Rusty Bucket Bay. This and its unique gimmick make Click Clock Wood shine above the rest, and that's why I think it's the best level in Banjo-Kazooie. Do you agree with my rankings? Let me know in the comments below. This was a lot of fun for me to make, but it really made me realize how difficult it is to write scripts for these type of videos. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, be sure to like this video and click that subscribe button to stay up to date on future ranking videos. If you're interested, be sure to check out my Twitch. I'm very much new to the streaming scene, so I'm only going to go live on Sunday mornings at about 9:30 AM Eastern Standard Time for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Currently, I'm playing through Mario Party Superstars, trying to come first on every board against master CPUs. If you stop by, be sure to say hello, as I'd love to chat with you. Thank you so much again, and I will see you all in the next one.